I kind of feel like this goldfish is judging me, so there's no better time for me to come clean. I once killed a goldfish by overfeeding it. But that motherfucker had it coming, man. I saw how he was looking at me when I was changing, going like he was gonna swallow my eel. Get out of my face. Get out of my face. What's up, everybody? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're looking to get your music reviewed, you can hit up this email. That's right here. But today, we are going to talk about this second studio album from Vince Staples called Big Fish Theory. Now, Vince Staples is a Long Beach rapper who's known for his gritty rap style and unique production choices, and over the years, he has absolutely dropped some projects that I did appreciate. We had Summertime '06, his debut album, where he did a lot of storytelling over some very dark and gritty production, and he also hit us up with this Hell Can Wait EP, which is probably still my favorite project of his. I just really like the production on that one with all the bangers. Now, leading up to this project, he dropped that Prima Donna EP. Again, this had some nice bangers on it, some creative beats, and that gritty rap style, so I thought it was pretty solid as well, although it wasn't one of my personal favorite projects. But one thing I will say about Vince, whether you love him or not, is he always comes through with unique production, and that's something that I can really give him love for, because every time I go into checking a Vince Staples project, I know I'm in for something different, and that's something that really helps set him apart as an artist. Now, as you listen through this project, you will hear some more accessible tracks, like the club-ready single, Big Fish, the spacey G-Funk track, 745, and of course, we have BagBak, which was on that Prima Donna EP. This one just has a bit of a creative sound to it as far as the production goes, but overall it is just a banger and something you can really do some damage with. So not everything on here is very experimental, but the first track, Crabs in the Bucket, immediately lets you know that you are in for some songs that you may have never heard before, at least as far as the production goes. On this one, you're going to get this very glitchy synth effect, as well as some vocal pads coming into play and beach sounds. So I really like how it built up, and it really does sound like, you know, you think of Crabs in the Bucket, just the image of that, you really picture this beach type of shit. So I thought that was pretty cool, but obviously he's talking about that Crabs in the Bucket mentality, where people are pulling each other down, trying to get to the top. So I appreciate the content on this song where he's discussing that not only in the rap game, but also in life, where you have this systemic racism that you're dealing with, and he does go into detail a bit about that. This track just really grew on me, especially that Kilo Kish outro where we get some nice bass twists. So again, the production is something a little bit different, but I feel like this is the type of project you really have to give multiple listens to in order to know how you feel. On the first listen through this, I was kind of like, I don't know, it's very different. I wasn't sure if I was going to connect to it or not, but the more I listened to it, the more I appreciated it, especially because it does have a lot of big bass on it. So if you're a fan of that and you want some shit to turn heads with as you're driving around, or maybe have a house party or whatever the instance may be, you can definitely work with this. Now, another thing about this project is that it's very snug at only about 36 minutes in length, but there are a couple of tracks on here that I didn't care for. I like that it is short because it doesn't wear out its welcome, but then we get that track, Alyssa Interlude, where he's working this very drowsy flow after a little Amy Winehouse clip. And then we get the track, Ramona Park is Yankee Stadium, where he's just singing like a sad drunk, laying out in the alley, looking up at the stars. Obviously, he's not trying to be on some Boys II Men shit with his vocals here, and I understand that these tracks are kind of dreary, so they fit into his artistic vision, but they're just two songs that I didn't really care for, and if I never heard them again, I certainly wouldn't miss them. I actually feel the same way about the song Samo. The production on this was just kind of draggy and jumbly, so here's an example of some experimental production that didn't really click with me personally. But I did like his bars on this one. I really like that bar where he says that he'd rather blow out his brains than blow money on chains. And he also has this little bit about how he wants to uplift his homies. Rather than put them in G-rides, he wants to see them put in college. So there are a lot of great themes on here. He's really talking about some of the shit going on in the rap game that he sees. He's talking about his own struggles coming up as someone in Long Beach. And, you know, I think that's something that's really great about this album. His rapping doesn't get too complex by any means, at least in my opinion, but he's straight to the point, you know what he's saying, and he does leave an impression. So the rapping on this was pretty dope. So even though I do expect people to be a little bit split on the production and overall sound here, I still like how he's talking about some interesting things and also coming with some very unique points of view. For example, the song Party People has a pretty great beat. I love those heavy 808s and the way the snare work is just so crazy all over it. And bar-wise, he's just rapping on this one about how he likes to see the party people dance. That's what he's saying on the hook. But then, in his verses, he's rapping about more serious things like depression and even suicidal thoughts. I just thought it was very cool how he's juxtaposing such different things, and he's really just giving you his point of view here. He wants to be happy, he wants to have a good time, but he's still dealing with some of his own personal issues and some bullshit that's going on in his head. So I really appreciate that Vince wanted to speak on that. We get some similar content on the single Rain Come Down, where I thought Ty Dolla fit in nicely over top of that mysterious kind of production. Because here, Vince is rapping about what it's like coming up on the north side of Long Beach, where you don't run away, you carry the heat. He does repeat his verse on here. I think it goes on twice, and then the third verse is new, so I thought that was a bit of an interesting choice. But this was a pretty cool track, and the video for it is dope as well, so check it out, especially if you're a fan of Sprite, because he's got some Obey Your Thirst type of shit going on in the video. Now, as far as other features, I got to read this one down just so I don't forget. We got Kilo Kush, Ray J, and Damon Albarn on Love Can Be. I thought that was really dope because it has this bit of a UK garage sound to it, just some very sporadic drums happening. And of course, we got to talk about Kendrick on Yeah Right, because I thought he absolutely snapped on here. He had some memorable lines when he said he wanted to get paid like 2 Damon Wayans. I just thought that was kind of funny. And of course, Vince Staples held his own on this one as well. I actually thought it was cool to hear these two come together on a track with such clanky, banging-ass production. And it also has this hook that is sure to cause riots and get people going crazy. So I look forward to seeing this one perform live, at least to see the videos of it, because I'm sure the crowd is going to go fucking bananas like Donkey Kong Country. So in the end, to me, I'm feeling this at a 3.5 out of 5, because there are a lot of things about this that I like, but where it is such a short project, some of those things I don't like about it really took me out of it. There are a couple moments with the production that I just don't see myself coming back to, and also some of those sadder, sing-songy vocal performances. I mean, they're not all over the album by any means, but still, that did count for me, and it took a little bit away. However, if you are big into experimental hip-hop, you definitely need to check this out, especially if you're a Vince Staples fan, because I'm sure you expect him to change the game a little bit. And you know what? Even if you're not into experimental hip-hop, you should check this out. Myself, I'm not really into it that much. I do like it once in a while, but this album still has enough accessibility in my opinion. Still has some fun bassy tracks, has some catchy moments, some nice bars, so it's not like it's so far out there you're not going to be able to vibe with it. Just give it a couple of listens and see how you feel. But that's just how I feel about it. All I can give you is my opinion. But you guys hit me up in the comments section because I'm really curious to see how this album is going to be received by you guys. I expect it to get a lot of critical acclaim because it is experimental, and that sort of sound I find really does get a lot of appreciation in a lot of articles, sites, magazines, you know, whatever you want to call it. But you know what? It's definitely a great album. Check it out for yourself. Not sure it's going to make my year-end list, but I would understand if it made yours. So that's all I got to say about it. Hit me up in the comments section, as I said, and make sure you do all that social media stuff, man. Share the videos, follow me on all my platforms, and I will see you next time.